Why, hello, and welcome to another episode of the Josi podcast. I'm your host, Josi, leadership and mindset coach. And today I'm joined by Kate, who's a productivity and systems strategist for fellow coaches and creators with the core value of freedom at her heart. So, Kate, big welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. Hello.
I'm so happy to have you. And especially because we kind of immediately connected over our shared passion about morning routines and productivity, which is obviously the topic we will talk about today. But before we do, I want to know how did you get to where you are today, also to living your personal freedom-led life?
Okay, well, we are going to go dive into the deep end here because this actually starts off pretty heavy. I'm not going to do the whole we're not going to need a trigger warning, but it starts quite intense. So, when I was 14, I went through a pretty heavy mental health time. It lasted about a year. It was very much there was literally zero hope. So, coming out the other side of that, I was like, okay. And I know this sounds super, super heavy, but it was like, right, if we're sticking around and we're doing this life thing, I am going to make this life thing the most extraordinary thing possible. Now, obviously, fast forward a few years, I didn't just immediately become an entrepreneur, but it did mean that I had a level of drive and ambition that was so deep rooted that it absolutely led me to burnout. And I don't throw that word around very easily, but we're talking December 2018. I was bedbound. I could not lift my arm. I was in a bad way. Yeah. And it lasted weeks. So it wasn't just I needed a nap,
it was full on.
It was full on. So I very much went the whole other way. I was like, but I'm not there yet, but I don't have the dream yet. I'm still I'm gonna work so hard. I'm gonna make this happen. And I'm all for working hard. I'm all for getting things done. But I knew at that point this is not gonna work like this. Something's gotta give. So obviously I started learning a lot about productivity and okay, energy levels and improving my focus and prioritizing. But there was still I just had so much to do. I mean, any business owner can relate. There is a never-ending to-do list. Yeah, but it just doesn't end. So that's when I started delving into, I was looking at, why am I typing up this same thing multiple times? Why don't I just have a copied version of it, a templated version of it that I can change? Okay, so it started off really small with things like that. And it just got me into the world of systems then in the past honestly, just a bit over a year. And that just changed everything because I was like, oh my God, I can do this thing once really well. And it's either set up completely so that it comes off my plate, or it takes me way less time next time. That's unreal. The amount of things that were on my to-do list. So it just gradually started dwindling down. I was like, people need to know about this. So that's pretty much how we got here.
I love that. And also thank you for actually diving into the heavy part, because I feel like that's really where your driver comes from, right?
Yeah.
And I love that you said, even though it's heavy and everything, but I love that you said it made you basically see life from a different angle or new perspective. And there's so much more meaning to it now. And the reason I'm saying I love this so much is because I literally went through the same when I was, I think, 15, 16, so almost same age gap. And I was I thought that was my rock bottom. But then I had burnout as well. And at the same time, divorce and redundancy and hell was breaking loose, literally. So I know how hard things can be, how shit things can be, but also the gifts that come out from it, because you then have like this deep intrinsic motivation to change something, not only for yourself, but also for the benefit of others. So I just want to say big kudos to you also for using that and to create something so amazing that will benefit others in creating their own freedom-led life. So I just want to say that.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, 100%. Like, it's we all have those tough times, but like, I've always kind of had that perspective of, it's not just a tough time. Like, there is a lesson in here somewhere. Even if something feels like the worst thing in the world, and goodness gracious, I do not want to live another moment of this. Like, there is something in there, either whether it's a lesson or something developing from it. Like, the whole concept of everything happens for a reason can be a bit, it can people can be on either side of that, because it's like, but this horrible thing that happened, it's like, I get that, but like in like in your own personal experiences, I get a lot of hope from that. Like, that takes me out of the heaviness of it big time.
Yes, that is actually really crucial, to take that hope and to not let that stop you, and to really take it as your fuel to keep on going and staying strong. So I really love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, of course.
Speaking of struggles though, what do you see is like the biggest problem you see like in business owners who, as you say, like feel overwhelmed, or they are wearing all of those hats? I like literally the other day I made like a list of everything I could put on my CV, but I will not put on it because it would be endless, because we're doing so many different things. So what do you see is like the biggest problem in someone trying to do everything everywhere, like all at once?
Yeah, honestly, I mean, you even said the word there, like the word is overwhelm. And the problem with that is, when you're experiencing overwhelm and you've got like, I don't know, 50 things on your to-do list, you don't know where to start. You're like, where the hell do I start? I'm also exhausted just looking at this list of stuff. And then it's like, well, okay, fine, I'm just gonna like go have a nap. Like, and then like you can't even start moving through it because you're just like too overwhelmed to even begin. So that's something that people come to me a lot with, that issue. Like, okay, I'm so busy, I'm so overwhelmed. Help, basically. Yeah.
So what is then your starting point? Where do you start with helping them to feel less overwhelmed so they can actually start tackling their to-do list?
I get ruthless. I get so,
I love
like,
that.
give me this to-do list. Like, I'm gonna have a word with her. Like, my approach with a to-do list is very like, a task has to earn its place there. I think people are so lenient with what earns a place there. So the way I see it is like, okay, I don't live in the US. I don't think you live in the US, but these like very prestigious colleges that are, or universities that are, world known, and they have like 10 spaces in this specific program, and everybody wants, like, Harvard law, whatever. Everybody wants that spot, but like there's only so many spots and you got to earn your spot. Like, and it's really hard to earn that spot. That's kind of how I see the spots on my to-do list. Like, there's an amount I will not go over for, say, a weekly to-do list. And over the years, I've gradually been decreasing it down. So it just, releases that pressure. But I suppose looking at those tasks and just really being like, okay, does this need to happen? First of all, does it need to happen at all? Second of all, does it need to happen this week? It could be pushed to like next month. We don't even need a due date on it some of the time. People, like, obviously we run businesses and it's so exciting, and we can get, a lot of the beauty of it is we get to have an idea and run with an idea. But then sometimes we overcommit because we're like, oh crap, I had all this other stuff I needed to do too. And yeah, that's where I come in. I suppose I just get really ruthless with it. Like, they got to earn their spot in this to-do list. You only have so much time. So let's not fool ourselves and thinking we can do everything all at once. Like, you can do everything, in my opinion, but maybe not all at once.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I think you basically touched on elements of the 4 Ds of time management, right? So the time management matrix. So delete, do, delay, and what was it?
Delegate, isn't it?
Delegate. Yeah. Yes, exactly. And that's a tool that I also recommend like so often to clients who are asking, so how do I actually get shit done? And I'm like, well, you prioritize, you change your priorities. And I love that you say you have to earn a spot on your to-do list, because it's similar for me. So for me, it's like my calendar, whatever. Like sometimes I also challenge people, be like, okay, just wipe out your calendar. Literally delete every single thing. Yeah. I know that sounds like, holy shit, I can't do that at all. Like, this is an absolute nightmare. I can't do it. I can't just possibly cancel all of these meetings. They're all so important. But when they really like start thinking about it, okay, do I actually need all of these meetings? Do I need to show up maybe to a stand-up every day? Do I need to, I don't know, work on content every single day? Maybe I can just batch create in one day and then leave it for the rest, or have automations and systems where you're an expert in, right? But for me, what is really important is to, if I have my blank space in the calendar, is then to schedule life first, to schedule the time where I have my morning routine, when I do my exercise, when I have my dinner with my boyfriend, when I don't do anything, or when I have my grocery shopping, like everything else first. And then whatever time I have left and I feel like, yeah, I can use that for work, I will use for work.
Yeah, I love that. That's another thing. Like, your business should support your life rather than your life supporting your business. Like, we obviously, because we have big goals and we want to make it happen, and we want to make it happen like yesterday. It's like, well, of course I'm going to work every waking second that I possibly can. And like, but then doing that over a long period of time, it kind of disconnects you from yourself. So I love that, like, having the morning routine in there, having the dinner with your partner, like it, because they're supposed to complement each other. Like, both are, one is not more important than the other. Like, they're both so important.
Absolutely. So now that we speak of morning routines, okay, tell me, what is your go-to morning routine and why do you swear by it?
Ooh, okay. So I will say I'm very much like, she changes. She changes.
Okay.
There's always a few elements that I include in, and it's kind of like a little menu that I can choose from. So there's always some kind of movement in there. The phase I'm in right now, it's an hour walk in the morning, first thing in the morning. Sometimes it could be throwing on a single song on Spotify and like dancing my little ass off around my room, and both light me up. It's just like getting the blood flowing, because when we just like wake up and kind of roll out of bed and we're like, nah. Like, you want to get things going. So movement is one, mindset is another. Now, again, that could be, sometimes I go through phases of doing the more shadowy work, or sometimes it's the lighter work, like, ooh, I'm manifesting a Lambo, like, but again, both are important. After that, I'll always do, this is what I love to do, is some form of study, whether it's like a course or a program I've already invested in, or it could even just be in the energy of a coach that I look up to, and it just gets me activated. It just gets me back in, like, okay, we're doing this. And it's kind of, I like having a little study set, because it's kind of, it bridges the gap between like, okay, I'm doing mindset work and improving myself in that way, and like starting work. There's a kind of a gap in there that's like, there's a big difference between like me writing my affirmations and being ready to like actually tackle work, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I like that in the middle. And by then I'm ready to plan my day, and then we move.
Oh my gosh. Like, you're literally speaking from my soul. I feel like we're soul sisters on this, because for me, like, the core pillars of a good morning routine or well-being also in general are to work, do something for your mindset, do something for your mind, do something for your body, move, do something for your heart, something that just makes you happy and joyful, and something for your soul that's like aligned with your goals and your core values.
Oh, I just got chills. I love that. I love that.
I love that so much, what you just said.
Yeah.
What would you say, like, if someone has only like 15 minutes and we take like these core pillars that you also have in your morning routine, what would you say would be maybe the most important thing for them to focus on, or should they focus on hitting all of these boxes to really have like a great start into the day and feel productive as well?
That's such a good question, because if somebody has just 15 minutes, I typically don't recommend to try and do it all, because then I feel like you don't really reap the benefits of any of them. You're kind of just rushed through, oh, what's the next thing? And it becomes like a tick box exercise rather than like really soaking in that one thing. So like there have been times in my life where it's like, yeah, like we got 15 minutes, what we gonna do? It typically ends up being the mindset stuff. If I know I've got a busy day ahead, I don't want to just end up in the doing and be like not even have a chance to be in the being, if that makes sense.
Yes, absolutely. So you basically focus on being in the present moment, right?
Yeah, like it could be listening to affirmations or something like that. Like there's loads of audios on Spotify, stuff like that. You know, if I really need like a boost where I want to feel like, woo, let's go, I will absolutely go on Spotify and throw on like I said, like throw on a song that I know gets me every time. Uh, we're going there. I'm gonna go with song recommendations for this.
Yes, please.
So there have been times where Love on Top, Beyonce, oh my God, because you will feel it with every key change. And there's about 10 of them. It's like, baby, it's you. Oh my God. Okay.
Yes,
like,
I love that. You're the first one who sings.
Yeah. That one I'm loving right now. Nobody knows about this one, but everybody I've played this song for is like, oh, Purple Hat by Sophie Tucker. It's SOFI TUKKER. Oh my God. Oh my God. I've got, just gets me going just thinking about it. Yeah. So those two. And if those don't work for you, well, we'll have to have a conversation. I'll give you more, but like, I'll leave it there for now.
Okay. It sounds like you have like a full playlist, like in general, that you go to. It's something you're passionate about, right? I love that.
Oh, Gasolina is another one.
That's a good one. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. One for me as well is Can't Holders by Macklemore. It's got like such a fast like rhythm. It's just like, yes, let's get going. Let's get get the energy pumping. Such a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's such a good tip. Because I feel like in general, like music, right? It just makes everything more fun. And if you have more fun, you also feel like you can actually do not necessarily more, but you have like more joy at least with it.
Yes. Yes, 100%. And like, let's be honest. And obviously, productivity, it's all about your relationship with time. Yeah. But like, the time is going to pass anyway.
Yeah.
You're going to get things done anyway. Do you want to get things done like dragging your feet and you're kind of like, nah? Or do you want to get things done and be like, you know what? Didn't even want to do it, but I had a fun time. Like,
yeah.
It honestly makes such a difference. Such a difference.
It really does. It really does. One of my clients, actually, she always puts on like one of her favorite songs when she always has to like fold the laundry. She hates folding the laundry, but she has to do it every day. So she just puts on like a really nice song and it makes it so much more fun.
Yeah, I do that with
such an easy trick.
Like
yeah.
Well, first of all, because I hate the noise of the actual vacuum. But like the headphones on, I go into another world. I'm dancing. The dust is getting sucked up like we're last. Me and all the dust bunnies just having a little rave.
Rave hoovering. It's a new trend now.
Now I want to do a reel about it.
Yes. Please do. Please do. Okay, what is one thing that you would say that you would recommend to like listeners to do, or where they should maybe start? Maybe it is with the morning routine to just like get more into like a productive kind of like thinking or way of thinking as well, and to take away that overwhelm. Or is there something else that you just want them to like take away from today and really implement in their lives?
Yeah, I mean, I would be doing everyone a disservice if I didn't harp on about systems just a little bit.
Yes, please do.
Oh. So, well, I feel like, let me give a little definition, because I feel like sometimes the word systems, people mean different things.
Mm-hmm.
The way I see it is doing a task in a way where next time you do it, you either don't have to do it at all, or it's quicker to complete, or it's easier to complete. So methods of doing that: automations for sure, templates. So like, do you really need to send out that same email again, or could you just like customer support emails? Great example. Like I have a whole bank of exact emails that and like, it's not doing anyone a disservice. It's like they're getting their issue resolved, and it doesn't take me as long to reply to them because I have a specific script that I use for that specific thing, like whether somebody doesn't have access to something or whatever, like it's all sorted. So that's another one, templates. Standard operating procedures. Ooh, I wish they didn't have such an ugly name, but
it really is an ugly name.
They are the shit. Like, yeah, I was kind of talking with my mentor recently. I was like, listen, I need to come up with a better name for this. She was like, maybe sexy operating procedures. I was like, yeah, maybe. I mean, I'm on a mission to make systems sexy, so maybe. But I just think if I said that without giving that context, everyone would be like, what?
They'd be like, is there a pinup girl then? Or what?
Yeah. Like we could get into some confusion there. Anyway, SOPs, checklists, policies, FAQ banks, all of these kind of things where it's like, not everything has to be done by you from scratch. That's essentially it. And like, obviously a lot of that lends itself to like, okay, outsource. Like, but I just think systems are the part in the middle where a lot of the time people aren't quite ready to outsource. Like maybe you don't have the funds yet. Maybe it wouldn't be the best decision. Maybe the best decision for you right now is to like set up some automations so that you can focus on your own genius rather than worrying about like, I don't know, onboarding a new client and doing every single step and like all of it manually, just things like that.
Yeah. So what would you then say to someone who's like, oh, but I don't have time to do any of this. I don't have time to create a template, or I don't have time to delegate. I rather just do it by myself. It's quicker.
Yeah. I actually get this a lot because people are like,
I can imagine.
Yeah. I'm busy. I now know I need to create systems, but I'm too busy to create systems. Oh my God, what do I do? Like, and it's a cycle. But honestly, and this is it's not the sexiest answer. There's going to be a period. There's going to be a short period where doing that, even just doing an hour of it a week, it will make a difference so fast. What I would say is, firstly, tackle the tasks that you do most frequently, because then you get the result of the system like literally immediately. If there's something that you do every single day and it takes you 15 minutes and you create a system for that today, then you're already reaping the benefits of that tomorrow. Like little things like that. And it adds up so much quicker than people realize. Like, I obviously, and I'm not fully there yet, but like
Mhm.
I have the goal of my business being like completely systemized, where the only things left on my to-do list are the zone of genius things, the creative things, like the big, like, ooh, I have an
Yeah.
idea, let's just go, those things. But like not everything is there yet. And that's okay. But that is the goal. But I think people kind of think, okay, I want my business to get to that point. And it's this huge project. And they're like, well, goodness, I could, like, I'm not even going to have a chance. Like, how it's just too big. They can't
Mhm.
tackle it. But genuinely, I say this from the heart, you will see results so much faster than you think. That's it. And some of them don't even take that long to create. So
That's the thing. That's the thing. Like once someone starts, they're suddenly like, oh, actually, this wasn't that hard. Actually, this didn't take that much time. And now it saves me time tomorrow. And it's really about starting small and starting somewhere rather than just leaving this big pile of like overwhelm to just grow and like foster into something completely different they can't handle anymore and feel too scared to tackle. Like just pull on one thread at a time.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, something that's coming to mind there as you're saying that is a lot of the time people are doing the thing anyway. It's just that it needs to be banked somewhere.
Yeah.
So, like, an example is like if you are, and I talked about customer support emails, like if you reply to a single customer support email, it takes about 5 seconds to copy that and paste it in a document and call it
Yes.
customer support emails. Like that can be it. Same thing with like a lot of people sell on their Instagram stories and they have story sequences and they're branded. You're doing that anyway. And you're not saving it. Like, oh my God. Like you put the time and effort into creating the messaging and you're not putting it in a specific album on your phone. Like, oh my God. So then the next time you go to sell it, it takes you just as long as it did the first time, or maybe longer if you're not in the headspace. Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is literally such a good tip. And that's something I only learned like later on. Like in the beginning, I need to create every single post from scratch. I never saved anything anywhere. So for you, that must be like rolling your fingernails. But then when I started, I was just like, oh, it's actually not that hard. And now I have like a huge content bank. I can go back to stuff. And also, like, so often people don't do that, maybe because they think, oh, you shouldn't like repeat things. But what I like, one thing I definitely learned from like business coaching or being like in business for 2 years now is repetition actually is key. Like you can't come up with one new thing every single day. Like if you want to be known for one thing, like you, productivity, for me, leadership mindset, like that's what we gotta like regurgitate all the time. There's nothing wrong with that. It's actually needed. And that's where then having that system, that product, that structure and like a content bank or you saving it, having the templates can be so beneficial.
Yeah, you have me nodding here like an absolute bobblehead. Like I cannot agree more. Wait, I was gonna say something there. Hang on, it's evaded my mind.
It will come back.
You know what? We're gonna leave it at I agree. I agree.
I take it. Okay. This brings us to the last section of the show where we'll ask you some fire round of questions that you can answer with one short sentence or one word only, if you're ready.
Okay. I'm as ready as I'll ever be.
Love it. Okay, before we do so, tell me please a number between 1 and 10.
4.
Okay, so we'll ask you 4 questions.
Okay.
Okay, ready?
I'm ready.
What is the Kate way of living and leading your best life?
Systems. I don't know.
That's a good one, though. It's a good one. When shit hits the fan, what do you tell yourself to get through it?
Oh my gosh, the pressure. Sorry.
Take your time. You don't need to answer like immediately.
Okay. I tell myself I will actually get through it. Like I'm not gonna die. I'm literally gonna get through it.
That is such a good one. What is your favorite book that you would recommend to everyone?
actually the 5 a.m. club.
Yeah. From Robin Sharma, right?
Mm-hmm.
I listened to the audiobook.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Not even because of like the morning routines, not even because of 5 a.m., but just it just blew my mind on so many levels. Amazing.
Yeah, I loved it too. Okay. What is, oh no, wait. I think because you already mentioned songs, I don't want to do this one question. What is your main takeaway from today?
My main takeaway from today. Oh goodness, like there's actually, I feel like I go into a bit of a, when you go a bit like you black out when you're on a call.
Yeah.
Actually, do you know what? It's that like these struggles that we have as business owners are so widespread. Like I had no idea that you would be able to relate so much to the things that I was saying here, like particularly at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like we all have some really intense struggles. Everyone is out there trying their best, and here we are. We're doing it.
We are. And we keep on going. And I think that's the key.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, Kate, I love this conversation. This was really, really fun. And before we leave, like, where can people find you? What do you want to like, what are your like last words that you want to put out into the world and tell the listeners or watchers on YouTube?
Yeah. Well, you can find me on Instagram at More to Life Kate. And that came from it came from that origin story that I told you about. Like there's more to life than like the heaviness. And you know what? Those are going to be my final words. If you feel like, oh my goodness, things feel heavy, I'm so busy, where does life get good? Like there's actually more to life than the way you've been taught it. Like example, one of the goals I'm working towards is moving my ass to Spain. I spent a month there in April. I spent a month there last April. Now planning on buying there. Some people were in my hometown are like, you're crazy. Why? I'm just like, listen, I'm so happy there. It's unconventional. And that's probably part of why I want to do this. Go against the grain, baby. Oh. That's my final thought.
Yes, girl. Gosh, and yes, go to Spain. I can only recommend moving abroad because I've done the same. I moved from Germany to the UK, and it's my absolute dream home. Like it's my home of heart. Yeah, I would never leave. I would leave again, but I would never go back. Let's say it that way. I would never go back to Germany. And everybody was like, "Oh, how dare you? Like you're leaving us behind." But I can tell you, like the freedom you experience when you follow this calling, it's on another level.
Oh, I feel that on a whole level. And you know what? We could accidentally get into a whole conversation about that too. So I won't add on there because I have so much to say about that as well. But yeah, agreed.
Maybe that should be another episode. I'm always happy to re-welcome guests to the show. So maybe that would be something else to talk about.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Anyway, thank you so much, Kate, for today. This was really so much fun to do. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, for spending your time here. And yeah, to the listeners, I will put everything, all the links to Kate and where you can find her in the description box below. And then I shall see you and hear you next week again with a new episode. Bye, everyone.
Thanks for having me.
To do. And I would love to talk to you about like moving to Spain or like being an expat or whatever the topic would be.
Anytime.
If you're up for it.
Anytime.